in that moment, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. And so in that moment, when I grabbed that little barrier wall to go over it to get to the inauguration stage, I heard a whisper, and it was like, Shane, this is dangerous.
Willie D. Live.
You were one of 1,100 January 6th rioters. Y'all decided to roll on the biggest and the baddest government in the world. Did you get mixed up in this, or did you make a conscious decision and had the foresight to know that what I'm doing is some pretty heavy stuff and there's some heavy consequences that come along with it?
Prior to leading up to that, I had no idea. I went to go protest what I felt like was a questionable, at best, election, and I intended to go to the Capitol and have my First Amendment rights exercised and protest, and I wanted to see Donald Trump before he left office. I had never been to D.C. to a rally or been to see any of the history of the city, and I knew that if nothing changed, that Donald Trump would be out of office January 20th, so I decided to go to D.C. I was off of work, and so I just decided to go attend a protest.
Yeah, and you became the center of the protest. I mean, you was right in the thick of things. I saw you on a video, man. I can say this now. I am not trying to incriminate you, because this is already documented. But you're on video with a tomahawk axe, bludgeoning a window at the Capitol. Like, when you were doing this, like, at any point did you just snap and say, "Man, this is crazy"?
Yeah. So there was different levels to it, but whenever prior to that moment in time, I had been at the rally, and some of my friends wanted to go to their hotel room and freshen up and use the restroom, and I went and got coffee for everybody. They came down, and when they came down, they looked at their phones and they said, "Oh my gosh, they've stormed the Capitol," right? And so I was like, something's happening. So I took off running to the Capitol to see what was going on. And when I come around to the west side of the building, they had these temporary grandstands set up where the president, around the inauguration stage, where the president would put his hand on the Bible when he gets sworn in, and it looked like somebody had kicked like a fire ant bed, and people were just climbing. These temporary stands were probably 5 stories tall, and there was people, it looked like fire ants climbing over them. And so
Right.
I was like, I want to go see what exactly is going on. And so I climb up onto the actual inauguration stage. And in that moment, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. And so in that moment, when I grabbed that little barrier wall to go over it to get to the inauguration stage, I heard a whisper, and it was like, Shane, this is dangerous. And in that moment, I stopped and I thought, well, why am I here? Why is it worth me going over this wall just to see what's going on? And I thought about, this is history, and I'm here for my children and for my great-grandchildren and the future of this country. I didn't know what was going to transpire, but I knew that it was God or the Holy Spirit telling me that this is dangerous where you're going. And so I chose to continue on over the wall. And whenever I got up over the wall, I made my way up to what's called the Lower West Tunnel. It's where the tunnel where the president walks out of whenever he gets inaugurated. And there's a ledge and there's a window to the left of it, and that's where I made my way up to. And I got up on the ledge, and I was filming and watching. And if you saw some of the videos, you may have seen me there.
I saw the video.
Yeah, just watching I was watching for a while, but what I noticed was the tunnel was filled up with police. What I didn't know was prior to that, the crowd had made their way all the way into the tunnel, and the cops had like bludgeoned them all the way out and rolled people up into a dog pile and kicked them all out of the tunnel. So I was kind of late to the show, right? So but what I witnessed when I was on that ledge was people getting hit with billy clubs, and I saw an old man that was coming out of the tunnel, and he had like a mesh hat on, like a trucker hat, and he was just pouring blood down the side of his head. And what I hadn't seen any protester take direct action against a police officer. And so I was like, what is going on? Like I saw these people getting hurt, and I'm like, why why are the police doing this? And I hadn't seen any actions thus far that I thought nobody had done anything directly to a police officer.